Hey guys, Cassie, Deputy with Deputy Tribe. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Cassie, and I am a home educating mom of 8 kids. And I had to remove my glasses because of the glare. You see that glare? Yeah. So if I can't see very well, forgive me. I'm working on, I write magazine articles, and I've published a couple in the Old Schoolhouse magazine. And I recently got asked to write an article for another magazine, and I've been kind of contemplating a topic. And originally my idea was going to be the case for the large family, and just thinking about how a lot of Christians and Americans especially nowadays have this mentality not to have big families. Not that there's anything wrong with small families. I'm not saying that. I just wanted to put together kind of a petition as to why large families are still beneficial, to kind of get people thinking about it. But then I was like, I don't really want to write an article about that. So then I brainstormed a bunch of other ideas, and I think I know where I'm going to go with that one. But I still wanted to talk about kind of the case for the large family. So I'm just going to wing it. I got my notes here that I've been jotting down for the last couple weeks, so a little background. My husband's from Liberia, and he's one of like 14 or 16 siblings, like full siblings, step siblings, half siblings, all sorts of siblings. So very large family. He grew up with a lot of his cousins and his siblings and things. And I am one of 6. I have an older brother that was adopted when I was like 9 or 10. And then I have 2 little sisters, and then I have 2 younger brothers. And but I always grew up in a house just full of people. We had several families living with us. I mean, our house was usually packed with 12 to 20 people at a time. So we both grew up with big families, and we both knew we wanted a lot of kids. And praise the Lord, we never had any issues outside of having a few miscarriages with having kids. So that's a huge blessing. But a lot of the questions we get are often the same. So like, how can you afford all those kids? They're expensive. They eat a lot. They need a lot of clothing. They need a lot of this, and that. How can you spend enough one-on-one time with all those kids? What else? I don't know. Anyways, I don't want to like address all those questions. That's not why I'm here. But I just wanted to share like the benefits of having a large family and the things that I've seen and the things that I've like studied watching other families that have lots of kids. Like large families have always intrigued me. And so I've always kind of watched them and studied their kids versus smaller family kids and just the differences. So one thing is each kid is an expertise in a certain area. So these notes are totally out of order. But one thing I've noticed is as my kids get older, so my oldest are turning 12 this year, they are starting to get interested in studying specific things themselves. So as they're doing that, they are becoming an expert in a certain area, and they're able to share that expertise with all of their siblings. So like, for instance, I don't know, I think Ahava was reading a biography about Patrick Henry, and she really became an expert in his story and his family and what he did. And so as we're talking about things or experiencing things together, she's able to take that expertise and share it with the family. So each of my kids kind of have their own little expertise that they're able to share with the family. So it benefits all of us. Hi, you want to come up here? Eat. Dookie, will you put her food back on the table? You can go finish your food, mummies. Okay, speaking of that, so she just turned 2. It's right on the counter by the sink. And their language abilities, I've noticed, are very high at a very young age. So my 2-year-old speaks probably just as well as a lot of other 4 or 5-year-olds. Her vocabulary is quite extensive. And I've noticed that with all my kids, their language ability just flourishes. They're able to read and write at a very young age because of their siblings. Not right now. Please go watch your movie. Okay, Mom. I've noticed that they can read and write younger and younger because they have siblings that read to them, or they see their siblings writing, and so they're like, how do you spell this? How do you spell that? How do you spell this? And they practice writing it out at a young age. Which brings me to another point, is you really don't do a lot of teaching the more kids that you have. So, for instance, my 6th baby, Evelyn, I never even taught her how to potty train. Like, I never potty trained her. Her older siblings just taught her how to use the potty. Like, she watched them use the potty. She decided, I want to use the potty. And basically, they taught her. They just brought her to the potty and she started using it. And that's the same with, like, music, right? So my older kids play 4, 5, 6 instruments. And so I pair them with a younger kid for their lesson time. And they are teaching the younger kids. And it happens in everything, chores, in relationships, in like how to work things out, schoolwork, music work. It's a really beautiful tapestry of how everything fits together. Sharing and work ethics. So my kids get along pretty well for the most part. They do bicker and they do fight, obviously, like all kids do. But for the most part, they really enjoy each other's company. And when one of my kids leaves and has a sleepover, they all really miss their sibling, like genuinely miss them. And when they come home, they're genuinely excited to like reunite and hear stories. And they stay up all night talking about what they did at their friend's house. And they obviously share bedrooms. Right now, we're house sitting for somebody, which is really nice. But we are currently staying in a temporary housing situation in a 3-bedroom apartment. And so we have the 5 kids in one room and the 3 oldest in the other room. So they do share everything, beds, toys, all of that. And it makes them a lot less selfish. Not that my kids are less selfish than other kids, but like less... I don't know. I guess more prone to be selfless, maybe? I don't really know how to word it. But because they share everything and they're in such close communion with each other, it bothers them less. Like, it doesn't bother them as much to have to share things. That's a good way of describing it. They don't struggle as much with sharing things as they could, I guess, if they had their own whatever. Their work ethics are really good because there's a lot of us. So when it's time to clean, there's a lot to clean up. But it gets done quick because there's a lot of us to clean it. They rotate chores in the house so that everybody's cross-trained on everything, because I want my kids to be able to run a house one day. So I don't want them getting stuck on, I only know how to do dishes, but I never really did laundry because my mom never trained me because Ahava did laundry, right? I want them to cross-train in all the different areas of the house so that when they leave my house, they can effectively manage a household and keep it clean and running and all of that. There's social skills, not just language-wise, but how to work problems out. When you have a family that's very large, you have a wide variety of character, a wide variety of different likes, dislikes, irritants, pet peeves, lots and lots and lots of opportunities to learn how to work things out, work out issues, apply biblical wisdom. What does it actually mean to be like-minded? What does it actually mean to bear burdens with one another, or to rejoice when a person rejoices and grieve when a person grieves? Or in Galatians chapter 6, if you see your brother in sin and you need to go and restore them, like, the opportunities to apply God's word are literally endless. Like, I would say I probably spend 70% of my time that I spend with my kids applying biblical principles to social interactions. So they're very equipped for real life. The more siblings that they have, the larger the family is, the more, and then they train each other, and then we do it as a group, as a family. Like, there's a lot of training opportunities, which is cool. I talked about the olders teaching the youngers. Patience teaching you gets. Patience teaching you gets. I think this means the patience that you get to learn and teach. Patience. A lot of patience, because there's so many of us. So just to get out the front door, you have to like wait in line, right? Because we all have to wait to get into the entryway, to put our shoes on, to put our jackets on, to systematically go down the stairs holding the baby. I mean, our entryway is like teeny tiny and the staircase is teeny tiny. So just getting out the door, you have to use patience. You got to wait for everybody to get buckled, right? Before you can go. You have to wait till everybody gets their food dished up before we can eat. Like, there's a lot of patience. You have to wait till everybody shows up with their Bibles and notebooks and pencils for school time, right? There's a lot of patience, a lot of waiting, a lot of dealing with those heart issues of frustration and flesh and anger and practicing patience. Me too. Me as well. Especially me. Serving one another, lots of opportunities to serve each other because everything overlaps. So, yes, your chore is to do the kitchen counters, but the kitchen counters are full of clean dishes that your sister just washed. So instead of waiting for her to dry them and put them away, you could serve her and do it so that you can move on to your chore, right? Lots of serving one another opportunities. Yes, you guys share a room, and yes, you picked up your toys, but the room needs to get cleaned, so you could help your sister pick up the toys that are in your room, right? Or your sister needs to go to the bathroom, and you're passing her. You could take her to the bathroom, like you could serve her in that way. So lots of serving opportunities because there's so many people, and everything's overlapping. Yeah, lots of that. Skills, economics, help, food, laundry, etc. Lots of skills that they learn. They learn how to help me with a lot of stuff because I can't do everything myself. I can't spend one-on-one time teaching academically each child for 4 hours a day. I just can't. I can't cook every single meal and put together every single snack by myself for 10 plus people. I can't clean the whole house myself. I can't keep up with all the laundry, all the dishes, all the cleaning, all the maintenance myself, right? So there's endless amounts of opportunity for me to train all the kids, I think I mentioned this earlier, in economics and in skills and in things like that. And even as they get older, in money, because my older 3 have a pretty sustainable income. It's not a lot, but it's sustainable. So they're able to contribute financially. Like one of my daughters is going to a birthday party this weekend and buying her own gift. Like I'm not funding that for her. When Christmas rolls around and they pick names for their cousins, they fund that themselves, right? Just because I can't give money to you for all your friends' birthday parties and all your events and all your things that you have going on. You need to find a way to start providing that for yourself. They get to reestablish basic skills as they go over it with their younger children. So they're very, very fluent in their math facts because they teach the younger kids math facts. Here's a good tip. Keep flashcards and things like that in your car. So like multiplication, addition. We have like the presidents. I think we have like reading sight words, all sorts of flashcards in the car because the older kids will pull out the flashcards and they'll quiz the little kids while we're driving. So that's something cool. But it reestablishes their basic foundations. So when I ask them to help a younger sibling with their Bible memory, they're going back over the verses that they used to memorize. When I ask an older sibling to help them with their piano or their violin or their guitar or their cello, they're re-going over their basic skills again with the younger children. Kind of like when you get chicken pox as a kid and then your kid gets chicken pox and you're a parent and you kind of get your natural booster. And then as a grandma, your grandchild gets chicken pox and you get another booster. It's kind of that way that God designed it, which is really cool. We have a team mentality and we work together. That is something my husband and I have really drilled into our kids. We tell them, hey, if one deputy's in a fight, all deputies are in a fight. If someone's picking on one of your siblings, you guys all have your siblings back. Even if your sibling's wrong, you have your siblings back. Like you can pull them aside and tell them later, but this is a team mentality. We are the deputies and we do things together and we are a team. And nothing can come between us because we are a family. And so that team mentality, so when my husband goes and like speaks at an event, we're doing that as a family. So what does that mean? That means the big kids help with the little kids. We keep everybody safe. We keep an eye out for everything. They help pack food. They help pack water. They help take people to the bathroom. They help dad get set up, right? It's a team mentality. So when we went to the caucus so that Alex and I could participate in the caucus, it's a team thing. The whole deputies show up. And my oldest kids got to help like set up the caucus and count the ballots and do all that stuff. Like a lot of team mentality, which is cool. Learning to work together. You're not just an individual, but we're a body. We're a family. We're the body of Christ, right? We're the deputies. So that's fun. They refine each other's characters. Lots and lots of refining. And they're more aware of how their actions affect others. Kids are not born this way. My kids are not perfect at this. But I have heard people comment that my kids do well at this. They're able to notice outside of themselves what's going on with other people. And a lot of that's training. I've trained them that way. Because there's, ew, nobody wants to see your food in your mouth. I've trained them. No, don't do that. That's yucky. Okay, don't do that. Okay, mommy. Okay, mommy. Don't do that. What was I saying? Are you going to disobey? Okay, keep the food in your mouth. More aware of how their affection. Oh, yeah. So I do a lot of training with this. So, they're running around the house screaming. Stop. Think about that. Does anyone else in this room want to hear you screaming? Okay. Or, hey, you're whining. Look around. Do you see anyone else whining? No one wants to hear that whining. Always kind of showing them, hey, look. Like, look, you didn't do your chore well enough. So now look, all this rice is stuck to the bottom of my sock, right? So constantly, like your music's so loud, I can hear it from upstairs. It's affecting everybody else in the house. So those are just kind of the things I jotted down, and I just wanted to come on here and share those things for the case for the large family. So if you're considering having a large family, but you think it's expensive, it's not expensive. You don't have to buy them all the new stuff, okay? I would say our largest expense is food. And we only eat real food, so it's not really that expensive compared to, I spend about $800 a month, $1,000 a month. And with inflation, holy cow, it's been a lot harder, but we just eat a lot of rice, oatmeal, potatoes, meat, vegetables, fruit, milk, eggs. That's it.
Mama.
What?
Fruit.
Mama. Yeah. As far as spending enough time with them, I'm a homeschool mom. So I'm here just about 24 hours a day, unless I have to go to like a Bible study or something. So if I divided that up between all my kids, I have plenty of time with them because I'm up through the night with some of them. Not to mention, if you send your kids to the public school, you're not spending as much time with them as a stay-at-home mom is, who's with their kids 24 hours a day. I have a lot of one-on-one time with each of my kids and a lot of time together or in groups with certain kids. It's a lot of fun. And each kid, a new part of them comes out with a different sibling. That's really cool. Like when Haven and Elias play together, both their quirkiness meshes so well. And then when Haven and like the twins play together, it's like a different Haven. And then when I get Haven alone with me, she just likes to talk and tell stories. And like Elias thinks Haven is hilarious. And like just the dynamics are really cool. Haven and Arye have a lot of the same interests, like bugs and things like that. And then Evelyn bosses Haven around like no tomorrow. Like she manipulates this girl out of like anything. So the dynamics are really fun and cool to see the more kids you have. But if you can't have a lot of kids, I would implore you to just research adoption or foster care. Like we as Christians especially, like we have the answers to life and godliness. Like we have the equipping to raise godly, Christian, mature adults. Like Proverbs talks about those arrows that you send out and having your quiver full. Like we are equipped to raise sharp arrows and we can shoot them at the target of Jesus Christ into this dark world. Who else can do that but us? No one. Like, we need to step up and we need to be the ones shooting these arrows out, because if you don't shoot out a lot of arrows, I mean, there's not really much going out into this battle, right? So that's how I see it. That's just some thoughts that I had. Go ahead and place your comments below and let me know if this encouraged you. I pray it did. And go make lots of babies, or adopt some babies, or foster some babies, or help take care of your nieces and nephews, or your grandbabies, or your neighbor's babies. That's all. Jesus is coming. Can you say that? Say, Jesus is coming. Jesus coming. Say bye-bye.
Baby.
And push that stop button. Push it.